Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Colin. I run a company called Acoustic Nations, and we record music, make videos about music and do all kinds of that sort of thing. And we have been buying new equipment. We've been using the lockdown to research new bits of kit that we can use and investing, because you've got to keep investing. Equipment changes constantly, so you just keep going as best you can. So we needed some new microphones. The microphones are important when you're recording music for many, many reasons. It's the way in which you get sound into the system. But there's horses for courses. Different microphones do different things. So we did our research and we decided that we were going to buy AKG C1000S microphones. Few reasons for this. First one is that I've been doing this job for 40 something years, and I've used AKG extensively in that time. Very good quality microphones. There are many fine microphones out there, don't get me wrong. AKG is simply one of them. But I like AKG, and we'll talk about other reasons for liking them in just a moment. But the C1000S is a very fine microphone. And one of the reasons for buying it actually is the price point. It's extremely price competitive. You can kind of see that, and I'm going to open up in a moment. I had a look at some of the reviews online, and people have said they're not as robust as they might be. But you know what? We're not touring these things. We're not throwing microphones around on stage. We're not roadies. We're not Rod Stewart on his mic stand chucking things around. So we're able to take care of them, and I thought, well, at the price point, it seemed very good value for money to buy AKG at that. Let's open the box, find out what's what, and see if it lives up to expectations. So I've already taken out the cardboard box because, to be absolutely honest, we've had 2 or 3 things arrive in the office, and I wasn't sure that these were in the box they were in. So we've already opened them up, but I'm just going to get the bit of sellotape on the bottom here. There we go. Plays havoc with my nails. There we go. So, ta-da! There is the interior of the box in a nice piece of polyurethane foam. So what we have here is, fortunately, what the manufacturer said came in the box. I can see without looking very far. We have a microphone. This is the AKG C1000S. So, nice. Have a go at that in a moment. It comes with its own dedicated microphone saddle, so that's a good thing. It comes with a foam mask. Back in the old day, we used to call these spit masks, but I think they've probably got a slightly different, more politically correct way of calling them these days, and that fits on the top like that, so that's good. Won't bother with that just at the moment. We get a very ritzy looking AKG holder, which is fabulous, so we can stick it in there, and that's so we know where the microphones are when we put them away in our kit rooms. That's a very useful thing. Thank you, AKG. But we also have these 2 little devices here. Come on to those in just a moment. But these are effectively things which increase or decrease sensitivity and actually allow you to turn this from a cardioid into a hypercardioid microphone. So, just in case you don't know what a hypercardioid or a cardioid microphone is, let's have a couple of moments just talking about microphones and sensitivity. The one thing you should always have a look at when you're buying a microphone, above a certain value, some cheap mics you wouldn't really bother with, but something like the AKG, it's worth having a look at the polar diagram. And what they do is they plot sensitivity at different frequencies around the microphone, both in that direction and in that direction as well. So when you have the sensitivity diagram for this, in its standard format, it is a normal cardioid. Now, what do we mean by cardioid? The 3 different kinds of microphone loosely are omnidirectional, cardioid, and hypercardioid. And of course, within that, there are little variations themselves. You get hypercardioid. Those of you who do filmmaking might have heard of the Sennheiser 816 and 416 microphones, very, very widely used. Sometimes we call those rifle mics because you can point them and the actual sensitivity is all in one direction and it's very, very much aligned with the axis of the microphone. This is somewhat different. We don't want to have that kind of usage here. We do want some directional function. So an omni, as it would suggest, picks up everywhere. Now the problem with an omni is it picks up like that with equal sensitivity. So if you're looking around the microphone equal sensitivity, your problem is you could be talking to it like that, and it would be pretty much as sensitive as if you're talking to it like that. Well, you know, on some applications that might not be an issue, but when you're on stage, you want that pointed at an instrument. That's a bit more of an issue. So for us, being a cardioid or a hypercardioid is an interesting thing to have. It's got an on-off switch just there, which is great. It's always nice to have one of those on a microphone, so it doesn't default to simply on. And also, it allows you to take the barrel off the capsule. So there we go. This is very much the business end. And what we have here is a space for a standard AA battery. This microphone is a condenser microphone. It does require you to have some power to it to make it work. Other kinds of microphone are called dynamic, and they just have a diaphragm that moves up and down that generates an electrical current, and that's what comes out of the bottom end to be amplified and turned into speech or music or whatever. This is different. It's a condenser. Works on a different principle where you've got literally a capacitor in the top of the microphone there, and as the plate of the capacitor moves up and down, it generates a tiny, tiny, tiny current, but it actually works with a great deal of what we call fidelity. In other words, how it records and how it senses the sound is very faithful to the original sound, so that's very good. But it's really good to be able to have it as a cardioid, as both a hypercardioid and a cardioid. It works off phantom power. Most mixers have phantom power. Most cameras these days have phantom power. So you don't necessarily need a AA in there. But sometimes if you're working in the field and you're working with a battery-operated recorder, having the microphone autonomous in the sense of not needing phantom power is probably quite a good thing. So having a AA in there works very well. In fact, it's two AAs, as I now see. Good reason for doing open boxes. And then you have these little gadgets here, one of which increases or decreases the sensitivity, and that goes on there. But this little gizmo, all it is, it's a bit of plastic, but it changes the polar diagram. So we can pop that on there, and once I won't bother with the sensitivity thing just now, you can experiment with that. It's less important doing the kind of general video and film work that we do, but if you're doing things like drum recording, you may want to lower the sensitivity of the microphone. So having fitted the hypercardioid capsule, you can then pop that back on there, and then you can fit that into your microphone stand with your mic saddle, point the mic, and you've got a fair degree of confidence that what's going to happen is the microphone will pick up in that direction. So if you've got a couple of these on 2 or 3 singers, for example, you could have 3 singers in a row, you could have stereo pairs, and whilst for stage work you might want a vocal microphone like a Shure SM58 Beta, which we also use for stage work. But actually if you're just recording these at a distance as a stereo pair, so you've got 3 singers in there, a small choral group, you can have two microphones like this in hypercardioid mode, and you can be very sure they're going to be pointing at the singers and not at the other members of the band or the choir, or at other things like amplifiers. So that works really very well indeed. So I'm very pleased that looks like it's a good bit of kit. I'm going to take that off there for now because very, very gently, you don't want to damage the capsule. These are just a push fit, so don't go in there with all guns blazing and expect to have to really ram it in. You just don't need to do it. They're very lightweight. And that looks to me like one very useful bit of kit. If you're going to use it in cardioid mode, it's called cardioid because as you look at it, the sensitivity diagram comes down like that and up to a point, a bit like a heart shape. So hypercardioid is very heart-shaped, and then hyper, it sort of looks like that. Having the ordinary cardioid mode, you'll still pick up from the sides a fair bit. So if we were pointing as a stereo pair at our 3 singers in a row, hypercardioid will tend to pick up other things as well. That may not be an issue. In fact, for a lot of our filming, it isn't. But it is nice to be able to work with a hypercardioid because you can be much more targeted. We've just bought 6 of these, so we will probably use these as 3 stereo pairs. And we can talk about microphone technique on another occasion. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. If you do subscribe to Acoustic Nations, have a look around the website, see some of the stuff we've recorded. Some of this will be done in the future with the AKGs, and very pleased about that. If you like what you've seen, mash that thumbs up button. Let's hear from you, and leave some comments. You know, any comments always very welcome. We love criticism, we love working together with people, and we love telling you guys, you know, what's out there and helping you do better films and better sound recording. So take care. Cheers.